The next document we're going to add to our playlist will be a hymn. So we go back to our liturgy and we see that there's the opening hymn, which is from the Christian worship hymnal, and it's hymn 224, God Himself is Present. You'll always see that there's some notes here if there's any modifications to how it will be sung. So in this case, verse 1 is sung by a soloist, and verse 2 to 3 is sung by everyone or all. So to do this, we are first going to go into ProPresenter to see if we have that hymn, if it's been sung previously. So I'm going to go in here to the library and I'm going to do a search for 224. Okay, and that's the hymn number. You could do a search for God Himself is Present, whatever you want. I typically do the number first. If I don't find it that way, then I will do a second one, because sometimes the numbers may have been transposed or there might be an issue there. So, but I see it right here in the library. Okay, so I'm going to select it, and then remember, now you have to click and drag it into your playlist. Okay, so now I'm going to select on that, and that allows me to take a look at specifically how it is in my playlist. Okay, and I will see if I need to make any modifications. Okay, remember it said verse 1 solo, verse 2 to 3 all. So let me see. First of all, is it opening hymn? Yep, it says opening hymn, so I'm good. God Himself is Present. We make sure that those are all caps. That's a formatting change we made later in ProPresenter, so some of the hymns you'll have to go back and make sure all of that is capitalized. It's hymn number 224, good. And here we have verse 1 soloist, verse 2 to 3 all. So this actually is perfect. This is exactly how we're going to be singing it, so we don't need to make any modifications. If we did need to make modifications, I'll go through a few of those things here. Like, let's say we weren't singing verse 1 at all. Okay, we would want to edit this. So we would click editor. Remember, that allows us to make modifications. Click once, it activates the text box. Click, double click, and then we can start highlighting and making changes. So let's say we weren't singing verse 1 at all. We would actually delete, we would highlight that all and delete it. And then we'd probably move that, and then just make sure everything is centered accordingly. To do that, you want to make sure that both of those yellow lines are present. That tells you that section is centered. Okay, so this says now it's just verses 2 to 3. And if that was the case, we would probably also get rid of all, because there's no differentiation between who's singing what. So we would make that. You want to get rid of any extra spaces at the bottom, and you're all set. Okay, so now if that was the case, we wouldn't want the first verse to show up. So then we would look at all of the ones in the first verse, which is all of these. We'd click the first one. We'd highlight that. Okay, there's one more down here, but we'll get that one in a second. You're going to right click and disable. And you see that those turned gray. Okay, that means that when you click through them, those will not show up. We also have to do that for this guy down here. So you select it, right click, disable. Okay, now you'll see when you click here, once you click to the next slide, it automatically will bypass all of those that are disabled and go to this one. Okay, but that is not the case for this. So I'm just going to do edit, undo, edit, undo, edit, undo, edit, undo, until we get back to what it looked like originally. Okay, and so there we go. We have opening hymn, verse 1 by a soloist, verse 2 to 3 all. Okay, so for those that are soloist, we actually type soloist at the top, and typically, so we can go into editor again just so you can see the formatting of it. The lyrics themselves are 84 bold. It's Avenir heavy. 84 bold. When I want to add a heading like a soloist or a duet or all, what I will do is I'll add it to the top, but then that is 60 bold, Avenir heavy. Okay, so it goes from 74 or 84, sorry, to 60. Okay, then you can simply do highlight it, copy, and then just add it to the top of each of these that it is relevant to. Okay, get out of there, and that song is good, and just confirm that it's here in the playlist. You can see that the cues are already there because we've already used them previous. So this cue, this one right here, tells us to clear the background from the previous document, and this one says that it is standard display, okay, which is what we want for typically all of our documents. So that is how we take an existing document, add it to our playlist, and make modifications if necessary.